Mega Dads Live is a mature-rated podcast. It's for the Mega Dads, the Mega Moms, but not the Mega Kids. So put on those earmuffs and let's go!
I couldn't be more excited because on this very special episode of Mega Dads Live, we are joined by the newest Mega Dad contributor. You've been doing Mega Dad stuff with me for a long time now, and I kind of coerced you into kind of officially being part of the team. He's a dog dad. He's an avid gamer, and I trust him with my life. If he tells me to hate a game, I'll hate it. If he tells me to like a game, I'll like it. We are joined by none other than Clay Howard. What is up, best buddy?
Hello,
Clay?
hello.
I'm super jazzed that you're here. You've never done a Mega Dads Live podcast. We've done a lot of podcasting. Let's be real about it. We've talked a lot of games together, but never Mega Dads. Never with that flavor. So we're gonna bring it to you here. People want to get to know you. Best game of all time.
Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo.
If I remember correctly, you can play at least a few levels blindfolded, right? Is that true?
Just the first level.
The first. That's impressive enough. That's super impressive. It's spooky season. Halloween's coming up, and I saw you post a video of your house, and you were proud about the decorations that you were all putting up.
Heck yeah.
I watched the little tour of your house. I've seen clips broken up here and there, but you really took it from the front door into the kitchen, into the living room, and it looked pretty good. Are you guys into Halloween a lot?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely am. My wife is as well. Maybe not to the degree that I am, but yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I enjoyed Halloween as a kid, but for some reason when I became an adult, I just kind of started looking back on it more and more fondly as I got older, and just the more I thought about it, Halloween just continued to become more and more of a thing that I really enjoyed. And so now we kind of go all out as much as one can. We went and did a haunted hayride thing last weekend with some of our friends and their kids, and this headless horseman dude was chasing us on an actual horse trying to cut our heads off. And so I just like getting out and doing fun stuff during Halloween, and so part of that's decorating the house and making the place look really spooky and cool in the dark. I've got a lot of Disney Halloween stuff, so a lot of Mickey pumpkins and things like that. I love that kind of stuff.
That's awesome that you're getting into it more as you get older instead of having it fade. That's dope. My wife Christina, she always wants to watch all the Halloween movies. That's her thing. Watching as many as she can. So it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween Town, which is something I didn't see until just a couple years ago. I was like, what is this? And she was showing me all the classic Disney ones. So yeah, spooky season is fun. I kind of didn't understand what you were supposed to do in those middling years where it's oh, I'm gonna go trick or treat as a little kid, and then it's I'm gonna cause havoc, I guess, as a teenager, or just hate on it and stay home. I don't know what we were supposed to be doing, but now as an adult again, now I can kind of fake trick or treat with our daughter and just get some candy and be happy about it. But yeah, it's a fun time. How are you gonna hate on free sugar? It's makes no sense. Halloween's dope. So this was a guy on an actual horse chasing you around for that haunted hayride?
And they covered his face so it looked like he was headless. He had a really big stump of a neck that they kind of put him in, which was a little cheesy, but yeah, he was legit on a horse. And it's this old outdoor museum where everybody is back in colonial days during the regular part of the year.
Whoa.
And so for them to transform into Sleepy Hollow is super easy because they've already got all these paid actors that are always in character. And so you walk around, you pay money to get in, and you get to do all these fun little things. And then part of it is getting on this haunted hayride. It's more for kids than adults, but I kind of had a fun time watching kids freak out, and cool.
That's a good budget. You got live animals running around. That's a good spooky spooky thing to do. It reminds me of something that I want to bring up in our segment that we like to call Mega Dads Being Super Positive.
Mega Dads Being Super Positive.
And this is where we talk about something that's making our lives better, that's getting us jazzed, that's getting us all excited for life. And I recently went to see a storyteller tell stories live at the Chicago theater. This guy's name is Mr. Ballin. So he's a YouTuber, and his whole shtick is that he tells stories that are strange, dark, and mysterious. So he'll be going on YouTube and just saying, hey, I'm going to tell a story. You know, this is a little creepy or whatever. And then he just like kind of goes into it. And you really don't know until you see other YouTubers or other people try to do this about how you can be good or bad at this, but he's really good. It's just the cadence, the voice, kind of like the slight like gestures and like the really like getting into it and enunciating and like stuff like that. And he does it just kind of staring at the camera with like a simple background, and it's like intended for you to just kind of be as if you were around a campfire, and he's just telling you like a spooky story. So me and my wife watch Mr. Ballin on YouTube we've been doing it for years now, and he's grown and grown in popularity. And then he decided to like really expand. So he like wrote a book. He has like other mini podcasts, but he's like, I'm going on tour live. So about 4 or 5 months ago, we were like, let's get the tickets. Let's do it. He's coming to Chicago. So we did, and we went. And it was really good. There were like, he always wears like flannel shirts and like a backwards cap, and like everybody who's like going in there were like kids and adults just dressing up in flannel. It was fun. He was on the stage, and they made it like a fake campfire scene, and it was like, you know, smoky with trees and bushes and stuff. And he was just like kind of walking around telling a story. Like, well, he told like 5. So it was like a 2-hour like thing. And my Apple Watch, I had it on, and it kept alerting me to my rapid heartbeat. It's like, are you okay? And like my watch kept going off. I was like spooked out. Like it was like really, really cool. And that's what I'm super positive about. If you haven't seen it, check out Mr. Ballin on YouTube. Like we got into it basically because we would watch like Dateline and True Crime and stuff like that, and then it came up like as recommended. So I didn't know I was into strange, dark, mysterious stories, but like it was something that we got into, and I'm glad we did. So saw it live. Really, really worth it. Very, very cool. We bought his graphic novel book that he has, and it's really cool too. So that's my super positive. What about you, Clay?
Yeah, so what I'm excited about right now is today there was a big announcement that went live. A little company called Analog, which you might know from they put out basically new hardware for old video game hardware, old consoles and handhelds and things. They did the Analog Pocket, which is the like Rolls Royce of Game Boys that can play real Game Boy. It has a really nice screen on it. Anyway,
that's a great way of describing it. Yeah, because it really is sleek and
it's definitely worth the money, but they're very expensive, highly sought after. They sell out really fast, and they just have a hard time keeping stock. But this was something that they had brought up a long time ago, and a good friend of ours, David Jones, has been waiting on this one, as have I. But today they announced what is called the Analog 3D, which is their version of the N64. And so this is a 4K resolution N64 that plays original cartridges, 10 times the resolution of the original, 100% compatible with every N64 game, region free, Bluetooth, dual band Wi-Fi, comes with all the original ports for 4 controllers, bunch of hardware fixes and things, no emulation. Plays it all, makes it look great. And so they announced these today. They're going on sale next Tuesday. They will probably sell out almost instantly. I doubt that I'll be able to get my hands on one. But if you look it up, man, they look super sleek. They have a black and a white one. And they look really nice. They look really good. I'm sure they're gonna look really good on HD TV. And so people are pretty hyped about it. I'm a big N64 guy. I love my N64. It's one of my favorite consoles. And I think this one will probably be the top of the line way to play original hardware for the N64 moving forward. And so people are pretty stoked about it. If you haven't looked into it, go give it a Google, because they got lots of pretty pictures on their website of it right now.
It's super
drool worthy.
It's an interesting product. Like people who want to have the original cartridges plug into like a modern machine with better capabilities. It's crazy to me. Like I'm not a retro gamer, you are. And like when they talked about the Analog Pocket, about like the care and the detail into the quality and like creating the original experience again, and also giving you the option to like see it with enhanced like clarity and color. It's just wild to me. And I respect the hell out of it. It's just, it's definitely for a particular type of gamer. Like you own all these handhelds, you play all these retro games. So it must be like pretty amazing. Do we know the price of what this thing is going to be that plays old Nintendo hardware?
Yeah, I think it's $250.
Damn, sweet, damn. So
yeah, which is up there.
I mean, it really is a premium product. Like it looks sleek. Like all these capabilities you're talking about, like I don't claim to know, right? But when you play these, like, what's the best way to say it? Jaggy like graphics, right? And it's like scaled up basically, right? To 4K. Is that how it works? It's going to look great, period, right? That's what they're trying to do here. Like there's an HDMI like out to it. So it's going to be a great experience if that's your type of thing. So awesome. So Analog makes all sorts of cool stuff. Their website's fun to look at all the time.
It is.
The only problem now is what they do is they'll come out with like the see-through version like soon and different colors. Right now it's only like white and black for this Analog 3D. So soon you'll want to like buy one and then buy the next color version. That's just how they do it. What are you gonna do?
Yep.
Well, we're gonna get into some games. The first game we're going to talk about is Clay's game. So, Clay, you've been playing a new iOS game. Let's talk about it. Disney Pixel RPG is a crossover mobile game that released on October 7th for iOS and Android. It's a free-to-play mobile game, so be careful, everybody. You got a gotcha mechanic game coming out, Judge.
Yeah, I don't normally play phone games much anymore. They're usually pretty disappointing. Disney's Pixel RPG, something like that. Not the best title in the world, if I'm being honest. But it literally is what the title says it is. It's a turn-based RPG that is very, very centered around pixels and pixel art and pixel sprites and things like that. You had sent me that it was live, and I'm like, all right, I'll go download it and try it out. Usually I'll try out a new game like this and I'll fizzle out within a day or two of playing it. And who knows, I might still fizzle out of this one. But for now, I'm enjoying it, and I've been playing it on and off for the last week or two since it came out, and it's pretty good. It's actually pretty cool. I'm not the biggest like RPG guy in the world. In fact, I would say you're probably a bigger RPG guy than I am.
Probably, yeah.
Most turn-based games that I play are Pokemon, so I'm like a lighter like turn-based guy. I don't do a lot of it, but every now and then I'll do it, and I've grown to enjoy it a little bit more. The turn-based battling, it's very simple. There's only like 3 options per character that you can pick. In this one, you either can attack, defend, or like use your special skill. So those are the 3 options. So super simple, but you have a team of, it's either 4 or 5 that you have going at once. The game starts you out with a basic crew. I think it's still randomized, and so you get these random characters, and then you can unlock new ones as you go. But the cool thing about it is that these characters and the way the storyline works, there's all these other universes that these characters are getting pulled from because these bad guys are going into other worlds and like ruining things. It's very Kingdom Hearts-esque and not the most original storyline by any means. But the cool thing is there's all these like fake video games that all these Disney characters are in, and they're getting pulled out of them.
Awesome.
And so right off the bat, you meet like 4 or 5 different Mickeys, and there's like a DJ Mickey from like a rhythm game.
That's
and there's
awesome.
Like there's a board game Mickey, and he's like 16-bit pixel style, and he's from some board game, video game Mickey. And then there's this one that's like, looks like it's from a Game Boy. And so there's like varying different like pixel styles of characters. And so the very first crew I got this like Game Boy Dumbo sprite guy that I'm like, he looks so cool and I love him. And so now I'm like obsessed with Game Boy Dumbo. And
that's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Like if you're into pixel art or pixel whatever, like it's pretty cool because you'll have a team full of different characters from different like 16-bit, 8-bit, whatever, all the bits. And so I like that about it, and it's addicting to want to unlock more characters because you might get someone from a different game bit style that you don't have or whatever, and so you have to level your characters up, and then you go through levels, and there's different waves of bad guys you got to get through. You can set it to just auto attack and auto progress, and I did that for a little bit, but then all of a sudden I like lost, and I was like, whoa, I probably should be paying attention to this. You can't just set it down. And so it did get really difficult, and then I realized I wasn't leveling my characters up, so then you got to go back to the main menu, and you get this. There's like a million different currencies in this game because it's a mobile game, and you got to figure out which one levels up your characters, but thankfully they give you a lot of it up front. They're very generous with it, so you can level up your characters. Then you go back into the battle and you do much better. And then if you run out of that stuff, there's these like daily fights that you can get in to get more currency to level your up. So not super far into the game by any means. I beat the first world, and so that took me, an hour or so to get through. I'm sure there's more to it. I'm sure there's a lot of like greedy microtransaction stuff that's going to come eventually, but on the front end it's enjoyable, and they give you enough stuff to kind of unlock things, and a lot of the tropes are there that you get daily login rewards and stuff. So I'm sure eventually it slows down, and you have a stamina thing that it recharges, so you can only play so many levels before you have to stop, wait in real world time before it recharges. But I don't think I've even like ever exhausted that completely, but I'm sure I will eventually.
I'm torn. Like for every pro, there's a con. Like as soon as you look at this game, it's really beautiful. And when like I'm a sucker for Disney, the little sprite characters look really well done and fun animation, and their attacks look cool. The overworld looks like decent and all that. So visually, it pulls me in. But then when you talk about it's a free to play game. Basically there's a bunch of currencies and there's probably like gacha mechanic type stuff in there. It's going to be built to make money. It has to be. So that's like kind of a negative. But the combat too is pulling me away because you described like a very, very simple system. And I kind of need to engage my brain a bit. Like the fact that there is like the option to like kind of auto battle. It's like, why am I engaging with it if that could even be a possibility? So I don't know, like you had mentioned the special attacks. This is important for me. There's only one per character. You can't unlock other special attacks either.
That I don't know. That's a good question. There might be a way to like turn ones off. I didn't get that depth in it. Like I'm right at the point where I need to start watching YouTube videos and like figure out, have someone explain to me how to be better at it. But that's a good question. Some of the things I can do, like my Baymax, he can heal my whole team, and so like he'll probably never come off my line because he heals everybody. But then Flynn Rider, he can do an attack that attacks all of the bad guys, area attack or whatever. But then I have a Mickey one that he like raises the attack of my entire team, and so you kind of want to like construct a team based around what their specials are. Whether or not they have other ones you can unlock or not, probably. I would assume you probably can, but I don't know exactly. But then they're adding new characters. In fact, I think today they just added Belle and Beast. And I was watching a guy on YouTube this afternoon about it, and he was like, don't get Beast. If you already have Genie, his thing, it doesn't go as well with Beast, but it goes really well with what Belle's special is. So if you can get Genie and Belle and use both their specials, they like work really well together. So there's some of this like synergy that I guess the nerds are like looking for of what makes the best team and what works well off each other. So I don't know. There might be a little more depth there than maybe I'm giving it credit for. I don't know. But the fact that they're going to keep adding more characters and stuff, like I could see people coming back and wanting to get the new thing or whatever.
That's what like really just, it keeps me interested. When you have that like blockbuster IP, you have so many worlds and characters that people love to draw on. It's like you put this skin over like the gameplay mechanics that are just like kind of like not so special, and you still have a winner because it's Disney. So very interesting. I want to talk a little bit about a unique gaming experience that I had. I went to what do you call it? It's a VR experience right here in the heart of Chicago called Sandbox VR. So it's full body VR with friends. And what you do is you go to this place and they have a very large room. I'm not good at measurements, but I want to say, if I say like 40 feet by 40 feet, that's probably not too far off. Very large room, enough for about 5 people to like maneuver around like 4 or 5 like strides. So quite large, empty, and they put you in the room and they start handing you sensors. You have a sensor on each wrist and they strap a sensor on each leg. So you hook you up with that, a vest, VR helmet, and weapons, and you're able to go into different scenarios. I went with my brother and we picked the newest like scary zombie scenario, and you start shooting enemies and zombies in full body VR. You could see yourself armored up, and you can see everyone else that's in the room with you in VR playing, and they look really good with like a full detailed model. And enemies can come literally from all angles, above you. I don't know about below you, now that I think about it. Well, kind of, because they could crawl on the floor. So like a zombie's coming on the floor and they're crawling to you. So I'm shooting down, trying to get the headshot to like finally take it out. And they put you in the room and they have these different experiences. There's other ones. There's like a Pirates of the Caribbean or a Sea of Thieves type one. There's a Star Trek experience. There's I think one based on not the Hunger Games. What's that Asian show?
Squid Game.
Yeah, Squid Game. So all sorts of like all sorts of interesting scenarios, like a fantasy one. I was very happy with the one we picked because like I've played VR. I had a Quest. I've seen other like demos and tried out like newer headsets. Like I tried out the latest Oculus in like a Best Buy or something like that. And there's like a range. If you have better hardware, you have a better experience. There's like less of a screen door effect where you could like see pixels and stuff. This experience was like a few levels from being exceptional. Like when you're in there, just the extra like heft of what they're putting on you with like give you an actual like gun to like reload, where you have to kind of drop it and bring it back up to replenish the bullets. Like the different mechanics that they have on the tangibleness of being able to see the person you're playing with next to you and they're firing and you can see their bullets. There's just something about the multiplayer aspect, all these little touches that really elevated the experience. Like my heart was like pounding, and the gameplay was just like you would land those headshots and the heads would just pop and it looked like gruesome, and little areas on the enemies would like bulbish like orange with flash and you could shoot those. The scenario we were in like went through different like spooky, like a hospital, it would like break apart and you'd fall through, and then you're in a theater, all sorts of like stuff going on where it really felt like it was very immersive because like you're in the room but you don't ever feel like constrained. If you go too far to the edge, you'll see like that red wall warning you like, hey, there's a real world object here, don't like smash into the wall and run forward. But I hardly ever felt like I was in a box. It was pretty wild. If the technology was better, more of like the what are they on the Meta Quest 3 is like the latest one. Like yep. That would be like probably 2 steps above like where they're at with their headset. I think they have like branding on it and there's like proprietary stuff going on where I don't think it's just like an Oculus Rift or something like that, like plugged in. This company that set up these play areas has to have some proprietary stuff going on. They say they make their own scenarios. They've obviously done like partnerships with people like Squid Games and stuff to make scenarios based on other IP, but it was really cool. I highly recommend it. Now, we're in there for about 30, 40 minutes. Can you guess how much it is? I may have mentioned this to you, but how much would you pay, would you say?
I wouldn't pay. I feel like $100 is too much. So under 100, but I would say under 75 would be for an hour, like you were saying.
Yeah, it was $50.
Okay.
If you come in prime time, for some reason they charge you $5 extra, so it's 55. But we paid 50, and then as soon as it's over, like they start throwing out the like, here's 25% off or 20% off or whatever it was. Like if you want to play again right now, they give you like a discount, like stuff like that. And there wasn't very crowded. There wasn't people like running around. It was like basically just us. But we went, in the middle of the week. So I'm not sure how busy they are or anything like that. And I think they had multiple rooms from like where I could see, but it seems like a very niche venture. It's like, here we are in Chicago, surrounded by bars and restaurants and stuff like that in this neighborhood place. And they're just like, I wonder how much business they're getting. And because $50 for that experience, and how often are you going to go? Like we went for my birthday, which was months ago, but we never really got the chance to go like we wanted to months ago. So when we arrived, it was like, whose birthday is it? It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. We reserved this basically for our birthday. At the end of the scenario, they load up like a birthday VR thing, and all of a sudden, like me and my brother are in a thing, and they pull out like a VR cake with like balloons and like bubble makers, and like you have like a mini 5-minute birthday party in VR with like, and we're like, playing with the balloons and stuff. I'm like, this is a nice touch. So yeah. It's like, guess it's for gamers. It's for people who are looking to do something new and different. They have plenty of scenarios, so it doesn't always have to be like the shooting or the stabby things. Like, they have other ones. I think they have one where it's all about heights and like going like higher on elevators and stuff. But it seems like it was a cool experience. I'm glad I did it. I don't think anyone's ever going to want to pay more. Like I wasn't like dissatisfied with the pricing by any means, especially like with the discounts they're throwing at you. But I hope a company like this does well. I hope that there's more investment in like saying like, let's bring VR to the masses. Let's make a fun like outing type thing and have that be a business. Like it's a cool thing. I'm like, man, I want to work here. Like I want to be around this stuff because it looks so cool. And it was clean. It was nice and well done. The people were friendly, and yeah, really great experience. Like, we were in and out. You can play with up to 5 people, which I thought would be a little crowded even with the size of the room, but like me and my brother were talking about it, and I don't know this for sure, but I think they would like, just like any game, kind of up the amount of enemies that would be coming at you, and maybe up the amount that people were coming from like different angles as well to keep everybody engaged and kind of facing out. It was really great though. So I highly recommend it. Man, we should do that one time. I think you would. I think you'd enjoy that. Maybe the pirate one we could go. I wonder how immersive or how cool that would be. Like I really wanted to shoot something. I'm like, I gotta play the zombie one. I'm like, that's gonna be good. And it didn't disappoint. Like there was a boss. It was like the 3rd out of the 4 bosses that we saw that looked really good. It was like this big, like almost looked like Clayface from like the Batman animated series, like kind of a bulbous like blob, but he would like shoot up into the sky, and like we were on like a moving platform, and then he would like crawl up to us and then try to fall on us, and you had to like move, and then he would like kind of put tentacles out and stuff. It looked really good. Like I couldn't stop talking about that boss in particular because it was like the highlight of the experience, where it was like gameplay mechanics where you're like moving left, right, and like within the room, but also like when the goggles are on just right, like it just looks like you're like good, like you're there. They have like little fans on that turn on every once in a while in the room, so like if they want you to feel like you're coming into this big area, they turn the fans on, so like you got like goosebumps as you come into like this big arena. And I'm just like, This is wild. Like they did a really good job. It was very cool. So more VR stuff. You just got the Oculus. What was it? What headset do you have now?
I have the Quest 3. Yeah,
the Quest 3. You regret it? You loving it? What do you think?
No,
about
I love it. I still use it. I like the AR, the augmented reality, whatever it's called, with the pass through that you can do now, where you can actually see the room around you. And so there was a game on Threads that you suggested where you drive this little remote controlled car around, and it looks like you're driving it in the room. I haven't talked to you about it, but I've been playing it and I love it, and it's really cool. Right. But there's a lot of really good games coming out for the Quest this year. There's a Arkham Batman game coming out.
Oh yeah.
There's an Alien game, a Hitman game just came out. Like there's all like looks promising. There's a lot coming. But not a lot of people have them, and they cost a lot of money. I mean, my Quest 3 was $500, but I think they're dropping them to $300. But still, to get 5 people together for your birthday to play VR at home buying Quests like that, you know, it's hard to do. And so the fact that you can take people somewhere and do it is awesome. The fact that they have a giant room available that you can move around in, because it's when you start trying to make it work in a smaller space, you have to use like locomotion controls where you're standing still but your character's moving, and then everybody starts getting motion sickness, and if you haven't worked yourself up to it, you're like getting ready to puke. And so having a big room that you can just walk around in, it kind of gets rid of most of that motion sickness and probably makes it a lot easier for beginners, I would have to think.
Yeah, you'd have to wait until the adoption rate went way up for people to make that type of like co-op experience that like kind of I experience with the Sandbox VR thing. But the more I think about that, that is like the dream, right? Like where you are able to have developers create those experiences. Because when I saw like my brother next to me, so we were fighting the zombies or whatever, we just did really good. He put his arm out, and then like we were like shaking hands or whatever, and like we brought it in, and then we were like, we slammed our helmets because we both look like Marines, like Doom guy. So we went like that, and we like slammed each other's heads together. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. Like we just got like way too into it. Like we almost broke their headsets basically or whatever. But it was just an in the moment thing where it just felt like the thing to do. Like he's looking like a soldier guy, and I am too. So I'm like, you just like slam heads together. But that's interesting. So the iterative SKU, the Meta Quest 3, which came out after the Quest 3, is now $299. So that's like the modified version where they kind of dumbed a few things down, but it's still supposedly a comparable experience. So $299 is you can get on some of the latest, greatest, slightly compromised VR experience. So I have my eye on that. If my finances turn around, we may have to dip again into the VR well.
I'm ready.
You know what that sound is, everybody. That's right. That's the Caboose, where we wrap things up with a recommendation, something that's outside of gaming if we can, a recommendation for you all. Now, Clay, you piqued my interest because you shared a little bit about what you were going to talk about. What do you want to recommend to the people?
Yeah, so me and my wife just started watching Only Murders in the Building, season 4.
Okay.
But if you haven't seen the show, then just the show in general. But it's this show on Hulu with Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez. Her name.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a good show. I really liked the first season. The second season was pretty good. Third season was like kind of good.
It was trash.
Yeah,
it's
and so
so
I was
hard.
like, I was really struggling to like come back to it. But my wife's like, hey, there's like 3 or 4 episodes. We hadn't even we missed that it had started, and so it was just kind of like, well, I guess we can watch it. And so we started watching it, and dude, I got sucked back in. I was just like, wow, this is really good. Like, I think it was a lot better than the last season. Even though the more I talked to my wife about it, I'm like, well, I still liked the last season. There was a lot of really good actors in it, and I liked what they did. Anyway, all that to say, I enjoyed what they are doing with this season. A new episode came out on Tuesday. I need to go watch it. There's only like 2 or 3 episodes left in the season. Lots of really good cameos every season. They try to bring in some bigger actors to play different parts and stuff, and so it's just really good. And I was really expecting this to be like the final straw where I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this anymore. Not a big Selena Gomez fan. I don't think she's like the best actress by a long shot, but putting that aside, the main two guys are obviously like comedy legends, and then some of the new characters they've brought in, and even some of the old characters are getting a little more like time this season, and I'm like, oh, I really like that character. Like, and so if you haven't checked out the show, you should definitely watch it. And if you maybe gave up on the show at some point, the new season's pretty fire, so I would recommend it.
This is not the first time that Only Murders in the Building has come up on the show. We have many people in the Megadads community that watch it. My brother recommended it to me, so I got into it like with my wife only after like we had heard many recommendations, and we finally gave it a shot, and I am glad we did. It is a great comedy like troupe that they got going on there. They play off each other really well. The story is like very interesting, and it was only until season 3 that I started to sour on it. Paul Rudd comes in at a certain point with a character that like really did not do it for me. Like I just couldn't stand when he was like kind of ever on the screen. And it's I hear just the rumblings of like kind of how they kind of turned that around a little bit too. But I'm glad that you're telling me to keep going, because that's what my brother just told me the other day. Again, it just came up in conversation, like after this VR experience we had. He's like, hey, did you go back and like continue? And I was just like, oh no, I'm having trouble with season 3 or whatever. He's like, yeah, keep going. So you heard it here first, everybody. Only Murders in the Building. Good and still good. Try to get through that bump of season 3. It seems like some people struggle with. That'll do it, everybody. We're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank Clay for joining us for an exciting episode of Megadads Live. Thank you for your premiere. That was good. You want to come out strong. You want to come out swinging. You show the people what you're about. We'll bring you back to your regular scheduled programming, but first I want to thank everybody for being here, everyone in the Megadads community. If you listened once, if you listened 1,000 times, thank you so much for being here. Join us at the Megadads Discord. You can find a link to it in the description of any of our YouTube videos, so you can go there, hang out with us, talk about games during the week, vent, share your good times and your bad. We're here for each other. Thank you so much to everybody who's been hanging out lately. It's fun to get together and chat. Thank you for getting us through the weeks and the long months ahead. It's only like 12 weeks to Christmas or something like that. Everybody start shopping, okay? Happy Halloween, everybody. You were listening to this probably right before. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.